When I first met Daniel, it felt as though the universe had finally decided to give me something good after years of surviving heartbreaks and disappointments. He wasn't like the men I had met before. He was kind, attentive, and made me feel seen. For the first time in my life, I allowed myself to dream of forever. We met on an ordinary afternoon at the bookstore, both reaching for the same novel, and somehow, that simple moment turned into something extraordinary. Within months, we were inseparable. When Daniel proposed, he did it in the most beautiful way possible, under a sky bursting with fireworks, promising me that he'd protect me, love me, and stand by me no matter what. Tears rolled down my cheeks as I said, yes. I thought my fairy tale had finally begun. I had recently inherited a small but cozy cottage from my late grandmother. It was my safe place. The scent of pine and jasmine lingered in the air, and every corner held a memory of my childhood summers. I suggested we could move there after the wedding, start our life in peace and love, away from the chaos of the city. Daniel agreed instantly, saying he'd always wanted to live somewhere quiet, where mornings were slow and hearts could breathe. But a week before the wedding, everything changed. It started with a strange phone call. Daniel said, almost casually, "Hey, darling, I hope you don't mind, but Mom and my siblings are moving in for a while before the wedding." Just temporarily. I froze. Moving in? To my cottage? He chuckled, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. Yeah, just a week or two. They're coming early to help with the wedding arrangements. You know how Mom is. She loves to organize. Something inside me tightened. Daniel, you should have asked me first. This is my grandmother's home. It's special to me. I know, sweetheart, he said softly, but they'll be careful. Please, don't worry. By the time I reached home that evening, my front yard was full of boxes, suitcases, and voices. His mother, Linda, was standing on the porch, giving orders like a general, while his sister, Emily, laughed and took selfies. His younger brother, Ryan, was already lounging on my couch, shoes on, eating chips from a bag. My heart sank. "Welcome home, dear," Linda said brightly, wrapping me in a hug that felt more like a command. "We've made ourselves comfortable. Hope you don't mind. I thought the guest room was too small, so I took yours. You can share Daniel's room for now." I stood there, stunned, clutching my handbag. Everything I'd built, every delicate piece of memory in this cottage, was being rearranged without permission. Over the next few days, things only got worse. Emily started redecorating my living room, replacing my grandmother's lace curtains with bright, synthetic ones because they looked too old-fashioned. Ryan brought his friends over, blasting music until midnight. And Linda, she treated me like a guest in my own house. I tried to talk to Daniel, but every time I did, he looked uncomfortable. "Please, don't make this a big deal," he said. "They're just trying to help. After the wedding, things will calm down." But I could feel something inside me breaking. I had dreamed of our wedding, of peace, love, and mutual respect, but all I could feel now was exhaustion and intrusion. One night, I found Linda going through my grandmother's drawers. When I asked what she was doing, she smiled sweetly and said, "Oh, I'm just organizing things. You'll thank me later." That night, I cried quietly in the bathroom. The house felt colder than ever, even though the fire was burning. Daniel, my Daniel, the man who promised to protect me, was now silent, watching me lose piece by piece of my sanctuary. A part of me wanted to scream, to demand that he stand up for me, but another part whispered that maybe this was a glimpse of my future, a lifetime of being the outsider, the one who must always adjust, always stay silent for the sake of peace. A week before the wedding, I sat on the porch under the moonlight, holding my grandmother's old ring, wondering if love was truly supposed to feel like this, so lonely, so heavy, so full of compromise. And that night, I made a silent promise to myself, if he couldn't see me now, if he couldn't protect what mattered to me, I wouldn't walk down that aisle. I didn't know it then, but that promise would change everything. The morning sun crept through the curtains, and I woke up to the sound of laughter from the kitchen. Linda was cooking breakfast as if she owned the place. Emily was sitting on the counter, scrolling through her phone, and Ryan was arguing over which room he'd claim after the wedding. I walked in quietly, my heart pounding. They barely noticed me. "Morning," I whispered. "Good morning, sweetheart," Linda said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I was thinking, we should move the ceremony here, in the garden. It's much cozier than the church, don't you think? I blinked. Here, but we already booked the venue. Oh, nonsense, she said. I cancelled it. This place is perfect. That was it. My hands trembled, but my voice came out firm. You cancelled it, without asking me. She frowned. You're marrying my son. This will be our family home soon. It's time you started understanding that. The words hit me like cold water. I turned to Daniel, who had just entered, rubbing sleep from his eyes. Daniel, did you know about this? He hesitated. Mom thought it would save money. Money, I interrupted. It's not about money. It's about respect. This is my grandmother's home, and your family has treated it like a hotel. The room fell silent. Linda's eyes hardened. You're being dramatic, dear. We're family now. Learn to share. And that's when it broke. Every ounce of patience, every quiet tear I'd swallowed. Family doesn't take without asking, I said softly. Family doesn't invade your space and silence your feelings. I opened my heart to you all, but this is not love. I walked past them, out the door, into the cold air. I could hear Daniel calling my name, but I didn't turn back. I went to the hill behind the cottage, the one where my grandmother used to sit and tell me stories about courage. And I cried. Hours passed. Daniel found me there, sitting in silence. Please don't do this, he said, kneeling beside me. I'll talk to them. I'll fix it. I looked at him through tears. You should have fixed it days ago. He didn't speak. He just lowered his head, shame flickering in his eyes. I loved you, I whispered. But love without boundaries isn't love, it's surrender. And I've surrendered too much already. The wind carried my words away, and I stood, brushing the dirt from my dress. I looked at the cottage one last time, the walls that had witnessed both my dreams and my heartbreak, and I walked away. A week later, the wedding didn't happen. I heard from a mutual friend that Daniel's family moved out after I left. Maybe he realized what he'd lost. Maybe he didn't. Months passed. I rebuilt myself piece by piece, filling the silence with strength and purpose. I planted new flowers in the garden, ones that reminded me that even after the harshest winter, beauty could still grow. One morning, a letter arrived. It was from Daniel. He apologized, saying he'd understood too late how deeply his silence had hurt me. He said he hoped I'd forgive him someday. I smiled sadly, folded the letter, and placed it in my grandmother's drawer. Forgiveness would come, maybe not today, but eventually. Because this story wasn't about losing someone, it was about finding myself. And as I looked at the sun rising over the hill, I whispered, Grandma, I finally understand what you meant. Love yourself enough to walk away when love starts costing your peace. That was the day my heart stopped breaking, and started healing. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more emotional and powerful life stories. Your support helps us create more moments that remind us all, love should never hurt, and peace is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Red Heart.